Hi,
Hello.
friend.
Hi. You look great. You look amazing.
Thank you.
What all is going on?
I don't know. I don't
You
know.
look so like camera ready, I guess. I just pulled this out of the bonnet and was
Uh,
hoping for the best.
I don't
But
know. I just,
look,
I'm ready, I guess.
she's glowing. Okay.
Thank
Well, let's
you.
get into her.
I almost wish we recorded this episode like 7 months ago as the trials are going on for the 2024 Olympics. But we didn't. However, I highly suggest people hop on a PBS and check out the Olympic Pride American Prejudice episode that is really featuring the story of African American athletes at the 1936 Olympic Games. The story of the African American Olympians who defied Jim Crow and Adolf Hitler to win hearts and medals at the 1936 Olympic Games in Berlin. The athletes represented a country that considered them second-class citizens and competed in a country that rolled out the red carpet for them despite an undercurrent of Aryan superiority and anti-Semitism. If that kind of gives the gist of what we watched in terms of the fight and the perseverance of, again, 18 Olympians and 10 who medaled out in the Berlin Olympics, I think it would have given us a greater appreciation for the 2024 Olympics, especially seeing athletes like Simone Biles. And then what's that one lady's name with the really cute husband that cheered for her so much in the long jump? I think people will know
I
who
don't
I'm
know.
talking about.
I have to be straight up. I did not watch the Olympics. I do not watch the Olympics regularly at all. I'm not a sports person. So anytime that the stories of sports people come up, it's because they're black, they're gay, or it's like unavoidable completely. So I just did not tune in to the last Olympics at all.
Well, I'm going to send you a video because the lady's name is Tara Davis, and her husband is the cutest golden retriever. And yeah, I just sent that to you. So
Okay.
I did watch the Olympics, and I think that this documentary would have given me even more appreciation just for the talent and the grit and the symbolism of having Black athletes present, especially looking at the time of 1936 and really how that, I know we say paved the way, but this was, they trailblazed it.
Yeah. Yeah. This was a really eye-opening documentary because, one, again, I'm not a sports person. I don't have any kind of interest in looking into sports history, though I understand the significance of sports and I'll say the marketing of Black people as human beings. The stories of like a Jackie Robinson, a Muhammad Ali, and how important those stories have been for our daily lives. I understand that. But I did not have any kind of context for the Berlin Olympics in 1936. And just thinking about 1936, Berlin, having America be, deeply affected by the Great Depression. Hello. And then also going over into Nazi Germany at the same time. Imagine being a Black person in that space. That is wild. So the fact that these athletes did that, also had to compete on top of just being there. It's mind blowing. I definitely could not have done it. So I'm glad that people like this existed before, my yellow belly ass got into this world, because I couldn't say that I would do any kind of long jump. I'd be like, oh, Hitler's there. Oh, I'm good. That's okay. I'm good.
It was a really tumultuous time, especially here in the US where Jim Crow was so prevalent. Like the civil rights era was trying, but it didn't really have success until 30 years later. So these Black athletes and these Black American athletes, in addition to the Jewish athletes, like this is part of that intersectionality of oppressed and minority people, and all of them going over to Germany, of all places, to compete in the Olympics, where Adolf Hitler, which everyone should know who we're talking about at this point, this shouldn't be a surprise, or like, who's that? Adolf
Oh my
Hitler
gosh.
was in the height of creating this Nazi Aryan sort of nation. And so if we just consider the context of America and Germany of the time, it's so powerfully a hill to overcome, and these athletes did it. So we had mentioned that there were 18 athletes that went and 10 that medaled, but how did they even consider to go, going against the trials to even qualify to go? And never mind the journey, taking a boat overseas with over 400 athletes and what that smaller space entailed. It was like America on a boat is what it sounds like.
I think that we've had America on a boat before, and that is
Going the other way.
Right. That kind of symbolism was crazy for me. But then also, like you said, getting ready to gear up to possibly compete. They didn't even for sure know that they were wanting to or willing to or allowed to compete. That whole preparation stage feels like just like putting myself in the brain of the athletes. This is all I do. This is all I care about. This is what I want to do and where I want to be. I have to go there. I have to do this for this country. All the different layers of doubt that could add. And then also specifically, I was interested in how the women were approaching this, just because I'm seeing all these layers of inequality, and personally, not even thinking about the sexism. Like that just is something that misses me as a man. And so then just like to sit down with it and be like, oh yeah, female athletes. So there's already this everything against them, whether they be Black or Jewish, and then also they're women. So within their own microcosm of their environments, rather, they're getting knocked down there too. So it was just super interesting. I could not imagine. Now, Donna, you competed. You still compete.
Yeah.
What were your initial reactions or like thoughts when you were hearing about these athletes dealing with getting ready for this time? Of course, we didn't have interviews from them, but
sure. Yeah, so it actually takes me back to my own upbringing and traveling for softball. So one of the travel softball teams I was on had mostly Black or Latino girls. And so we would travel throughout Ohio, or we'd go to different states and play. And especially in the rural parts of Ohio or rural parts of Pennsylvania, and you hear grown adults calling us N-words and, treating us poorly because of the color of our skin and because we were dominating. So to consider, let's call it little league travel softball to the 1936 Olympics being 70 years later at the time, that is a big difference. But we were still basically in the same place, but on a much smaller scale.
Yeah, thinking about that too, like I always went to predominantly white schools, but on the occasion that I would be at a sporting game, usually it was with schools that were predominantly Black that were coming to my school. And the commentary leading up to that in the hallways, it's not ever overt either. It's just all that microaggression, and then that's just students.
Yeah.
Students usually were better behaved. When it came to the parents showing up, the tension in those different areas, whether it be basketball or football or whatever it was, I can only imagine an entire country that was like either one that you were representing or the one that you were visiting so that you could play in the games, feeling that amount of tension. And it's all because of your identity. It has nothing to do with the sport that you are clearly excelling at.
Yeah.
It's sick. It's crazy, to be honest. And also, like, for me, because I don't care about sports, I'm like, is it really that deep? You know what I mean? Like, can't you just let them run?
Yeah, exactly. But I think just going along those same lines, the way that the American boat was greeted in Germany once they embarked, or I don't know, what do you call it when they shored?
Oh no, barked is leaving once they
docked.
Good. Okay. Yeah, we'll go with that.
I think it's you dock a boat. So when they docked, they were greeted with by hundreds, if not thousands of people with Nazi flags.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, at the time, we know what that swastika and what the Nazi flag means. It's against Black people. It's against Jewish people. It's against anyone who is not that blue-eyed, white, blonde-haired persona. And not even persona, just who they are or who they present, for outwardly present. And so that's their, hey, welcome to Germany. And obviously that's not setting a very good sort of precedent of being truly welcome because of the very clearly racist and anti-Semitic sentiments of the time that Adolf Hitler really instilled into the German people. So they're greeted with this. And then you hear that the propaganda throughout Germany, through the news, was okay, for these next 2 weeks, treat everyone just like they're equals. No, it doesn't matter their skin color or if they're Jewish or if their nose is funny or the color of their skin. Like none of that matters, but just treat everyone well because we want to appear that we're all inclusive, basically. But then once they leave, back to normal, you guys. Back to the racist, the prejudice, the all of the hatred that existed and that was created really by Adolf. Never mind the things that he did during the races and during the games.
So depressing to think about, but then also like when you think about them arriving and seeing the Nazi propaganda and understanding what that meant as Americans, part of me questions how other countries may see the American flag and how our hospitality could feel like that Nazi flag to certain places. So it's like this fake hospitality, this country, this chivalry, I guess you would say, being afforded to the people they're foreigners or people that you otherwise would not be kind to. I feel like it's something that might just happen across the board. It's just the extreme the extreme measures that Nazis took to just spread their own beliefs is what's most insane. And then also the fact that they were trying to use the Olympics, like, yeah, they said, everybody be nice. We're going to greet them with open arms. We're going to let them run, whatever, wink, wink, because spoiler alert, not everybody was allowed to run and they found out right before it was their time. But then also their whole plan was, because they believed this so thoroughly, we're filming it. We're going to use this as a wonderful marketing tool to prove ourselves right, that the Aryan nation is the superior nation, and that all these other, all this riffraff coming over here, sure, we're going to stomp you out, not even a problem, because they were planning on I guess they really, look, I'm like, I guess they really believed it. But like in my head, it's like so ridiculous that they believed it. I can't imagine that they actually believed that because they have blonde hair and blue eyes, that they could win every single sport. It just sounds so ridiculous. I can't even put myself in that mindset. But it was interesting that they were trying to use their own beliefs to embarrass these people, basically.
I want to go back to what you mentioned about the flag. I think that it's not just about other countries. I believe that even in our own country, we see people who don't see our American flag as a welcoming sign or exactly. So, I just had a quick thought about that. And then when it comes to what Hitler was doing and what these people sort of believed, I think it's one of those things where they project this insecurity, right? So to them, they're insecure about how well that they can produce, how well that they can like run or compete and all of these things, and really want to think that they're really superior. But if someone was so superior, they wouldn't try to make someone else feel or look inferior or block them from competing against them. If anything, you want them to come to the table. You want them to come and compete and then say, look, I beat so-and-so because I am superior, but you didn't because you're not superior. And really, I believe they didn't want that secret to get out. They didn't want to have to sit with their own insecurities or their own truth about not being the best. And they wanted to put down another race of people to show that they weren't superior in any sort of way.
I'm gonna say it felt like hand wringing, like this nervousness, like, okay, everybody be nice to them because we have to prove our point. But also, like you said, it's so unsteady and such an obvious sign of like, okay, we have to plan to be the best. If you really were the best, baby, wouldn't even be a problem. And you knew that. And you knew that you had to come up with a way to try to make yourself look the best, which leads us into the shenanigans that happened during the games.
Exactly.
So Marty Glickman and Sam Stoller, they were Jewish athletes. They were runners, and they were removed before their relay race, probably just because Hitler wasn't in the mood. And it was done so behind the scenes. And also this happened multiple times. Same thing happened to Gretel Bergman, a high jumper who was Jewish. And also, let's rewind a little bit about Gretel specifically. She was added into the team because they felt like it would look bad if they didn't include any Jewish competitors. So they were like, we need a Jewish person on the team, and then immediately pulled her out. Immediately. They're like, eh. And those kind of hijinks were happening left and right. I'm sure that there was more. I'm sure that there was unfairness. You know how sometimes there's controversy about football games where, is the ball inflated properly and things like that. I'm sure that there was more meddling going on that we don't really know about. If I were one of these athletes, I wouldn't eat or drink anything while I was there. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So I have questions about that, but Germany tried their best to show some sort of hospitality and then also be shady on the other side. But I will say what was surprising to me, or most surprising to me, was that the Black women that ended up going reported having a fine time.
Interesting.
Like Tidy said, like, it was fine.
And maybe that's just because everybody was on their P's and Q's for 2 weeks.
I guess.
Whatever the time was,
A 2-piece cease asshole. That was great. Everybody's going to be fine. Let's go into the Black men. So the one name in this entire documentary that I actually recognized was Jesse Owens. And I'm guessing it's probably because growing up, he's just made it through in the history books or something as winning 4 gold medals for the 100 meters, 200 meters long jump, and the 4x100 relay. Is that how you say it? I'm guessing. Yes. Yeah, I took my little notes and I was like, But I knew about Jesse Owens, but the person I didn't know about of all the Black athletes that made it was the first Black woman to represent America on an Olympic team, being Louise Stokes. Now, my last name is Stokes. I'm going to guess that we have no relation. She's from Massachusetts. My family is from the South. And plus, Stokes isn't necessarily our name, some white people's name. But it was interesting. I had never known that Louise Stokes was the first Black woman to represent America in the Olympic Games. What a treat. Unfortunately, Louise Stokes, her story did not end up as victorious or honest or interesting. Mostly just left with embarrassment. Another one of those tactics that Germany was using to put her down. There were 2 Black women, both of which were runners and friends. So there was Tidy Pickett, who was the lady who reported, had a great time. Everybody was really kind to me, whatever. She was doing hurdles. And so she apparently had trouble with hurdles in America where she would drag her foot. And so she trained, I believe it was with Jesse Owens, who trained her to work on that mistake that she constantly made, whatever. And then when it came time for her to compete in the Olympics, immediately old habits died hard. she dragged her foot, or maybe the heights were slightly off or whatever. That's why I think about the meddling aspect. I'm like,
Yeah.
But her foot ended up hitting one of the, what do you call the things that they jump? I'm just going to say hurdles.
The hurdles? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're called hurdles. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I mean, hurdling,
her foot hit the hurdle and broke, and she unfortunately was not able to complete her race. And not even having hit the ground, they removed Louise Stokes from the team when it was about her time for her competition. So unfortunately, the first Black woman to represent America or be put on the American team for the Olympics never even got a chance to run the race.
Yeah, I think what's really sad about that too is that this is once every 4 years, and they train so hard for it. They train very diligently. They are truly the best at what they do. But yet these obstacles that are put in their place that they simply can't overcome by no issue of their own. It's just the issues of other people. But yet another 4 years, if that other 4 years comes about again, like, why would someone willingly put themselves through that same sort of torment? Possibly, anyway. It wasn't going to be in Germany again, but that is a tall order to ask of someone to train again for those 4 years and to put themselves through that, the racial turmoil of being a Black athlete competing at the highest games that you ever can.
Mm-hmm. And the worst part is that both ladies, Tidy and Louise, both qualified and got put on the team in 1932. But because of the state of the world and everything else, they were removed from their first time. So this is not just their 4 years.
Right.
Again, this is their life, and they were ready 4 years ago. You know what I mean? But because the world wasn't ready, or really never became ready, they had to wait until it became a good opportunity for propaganda on Germany's side and probably on America's side to go ahead and put them in, because it was starting to look rough.
Right.
How depressing.
Something that really resonated with me was that the Black athletes that medaled, and I believe also the Jewish athletes that medaled as well, Hitler wouldn't receive them. So he wouldn't go and shake their hand and congratulate them. Neither would, back here in the United States, would Roosevelt receive them, because at the time in the 30s, that's not a good look to be canoodling with Black people. And that was a hard line that they drew, and just how sad and how really disheartening to compete and put everything that you have built into representing your country at the biggest games ever that you can compete in. And yet the president of that country would not receive you or shake your hand to congratulate you.
I think about that when it comes to the military. I think about that when it comes to certain, police forces or everything. Like, how much of this is actually for you? And I don't knock people, Black people who are interested in going to the military or going into different service positions that are more patriotic than others. I don't knock them. Of course, you grew up in this place. This was the messaging, and like, you want to make a difference or you want to do the thing, whatever. Yeah. But then also there's always this back end bullshit. Like, for instance, the Vietnam vets that came home and got treated the World War II vets that came home and couldn't even wear their uniforms anymore because people were like, well, remember, Negro, like, but it's like, what kind of investment are you really asking Black people to put forth for a country that won't even let them jump over a bar and bring home medals and sponsorships or whatever, that, all the things that come with that kind of publicity and that propaganda? You can't even thank them for that. You can't even shake their hand. Like, hey, real quick. If you are liking what you're hearing, and I'm sure that you do, I really need your help. If you could go and drop a 5-star rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening to the show, would do us wonders. So please drop that in the comments, drop that 5-star rating. All right, get back to the conversation.
I recall them saying in the documentary that one of them came back and was basically working night shift at a gas station, I want to say, and it was cold. And so they wore their Olympic jersey, or excuse me, their Olympic coat or like warm up to stay warm. And so you have literally a medalist from the Olympics working at a gas station. And there's nothing wrong with working at a gas station. I'm just saying.
Right. But that's not a Wheaties box. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a speaking engagement. It's not even a coaching opportunity.
Right.
It's just, and it happens time and time again. And I don't know. Is the answer to divest? Probably not. Like if we want inclusion, we're going to have to be included somehow, but it's just like this bittersweet victory thing. That's just so sad. Even Jesse Owens, the one person in this whole entire documentary whose name I've ever known about, came back having won 4 medals and had to really, like, it's so humiliating. He ended up having to do stage races against horses to continue some sort of career.
Baffled. Yeah.
Yikes.
Like, it's so performant. It's so icky. It's so icky. Here, dance boy kind of thing.
It is that. It's 100% that. And it's, I don't know, in what ways does that happen today? I'm sure it does. At least they're getting paid. But I can only imagine the things that like a Serena Williams goes through, like behind the scenes, let alone what we can tell. Like, when Serena was going through, I think it her and Sharapova, where Serena was like, "That's not fair." She went off on the ref. Do you remember this? Just a few years ago.
I know what you're talking about. I just don't remember who they were playing against. I don't remember who Serena was playing against, but I do remember seeing the foolery that happened after, where they were making cartoons of her and making really this caricature of her, like big butt, big lips, and like stomping up and down like a baby on the court kind of thing, like a temper tantrum. Meanwhile, white male athletes have done much worse.
Oh my God.
And so obviously the misogyny, the racism was certainly prevalent. And I can imagine that for really these historical Black athletes, like these legends such as Serena Williams, Venus Williams, Simone Biles, like you name it, just enter these big names of Black women athletes, certainly, especially nowadays, have experienced similar things.
Yeah, I have to. I mean, even in a social space, and this comes from Black people too, and maybe it's because the Olympics or pop culture has changed so much, but there's not a lot of reverence for the impact that certain Black athletes, especially female Black athletes, deserve. Like, Serena and Venus Williams brought tennis to me. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that was tennis. And I know that I'm not the only one. And so the fact that, like, this was the one time too in my entire, knowledge of those sisters playing that I had ever heard about any sort of temper issue, any sort of conduct issue. Before that, it was an issue of their hair, which was stupid, their costumes, which was stupid, their bodies, which was stupid, and then random, like, maybe their skin tone, their femininity. I'm sure that there were speculations about their hormone levels somewhere in there as we were growing up. But when she didn't even lose her temper, if you ask me, she corrected the referee who was not paying attention, right?
Yeah.
And they have the ability to do that. That's why they have all these other refs that are able to review cameras and stuff. She said, "That's not fair." Was the reaction that was from everyone, pop culture and everyone else? Was it really about the conduct, or was it that you don't like seeing these Black women, one, here, two, reminding you of the rules? Like, you don't like to see that power, let alone the woman who made tennis the most popular sport for X amount of years. Like, I'm so confused about the Black person's place in these spaces. And and how they're being viewed and what they want us to do. What do they want Black people to do? Do you want them to go out there and win, or just like stand in the place so you can say that there are Black people there? You know,
they even said it in the documentary at minimum about one of the Jewish athletes to be the token Jewish person, right? And you have, like, they said that. Riddled. And to me, I think that is what they would like, is just to have your token representation so they can feel better about themselves and say, well, no, we also have Black people, or we also have Jewish people, or we also have insert minority on our team. And that to them means that they're progressive or something, which clearly that's not even bare minimum. That's just not it, because the intention is not pure. The intention is very dark and malicious in a way.
Yeah, it's for propaganda, for just like how the Nazis had propaganda for Berlin. Sometimes I feel that the mistreatment of these athletes in these different sports is just propaganda for the business that runs the sports. The NFL, like the performance. I remember the kneeling situation, and now there's all this performative. Come on in, welcome us in. Yeah, of course, welcome everybody in, because most of your money is made on the backs of the people who are saying, yo, the rest of the world exists and we are in it. Yeah. And so they're like, okay, we'll do a commercial. You know what I mean? Like, right. It's so performative. It's so trash.
Disingenuous.
Trash. Yeah, it's just disingenuous.
Can we talk about how the Americans were welcomed into the Olympic Games? Never mind Germany, but into the Olympic Games. So you have 400 athletes, American athletes, walking into the Olympic Games, into the Olympic Stadium. So there's cheering, everyone's clapping, hoo-ha, da-da-da-da-da. They have not completed their procession into the stadium. And what comes on? The German national anthem. To which everybody has to be quiet and stand and don't say anything. So you have American athletes proceeding into the Olympic Games, walking in with the German national anthem playing as they are continuing to walk. Wow.
To say that Hitler was petty is such an understatement, but the first thing I'm thinking is, you little petty bitch. That is so, oh my God. Like, I know that word is too light for that person, but geez, like, growl.
That doesn't even like grace the surface of the monster that this man was.
Oh my God. In my mind, like with the song thing, I know this is trivializing it and so inappropriate, but like, girl, have a Snickers. Can you let them walk onto the stage, please? Like, it's 2 more minutes.
Yeah.
What? And then they send all those doves, pigeons out. Was it pigeons? And send them all these 400 birds or whatever to shit all over them. The hell?
I don't know if they're pigeons or carrier pigeons or whatever the hell.
Whatever. Every bird is a pigeon. And those are pigeons.
It was wild.
Crazy. It was wild. But 'tis the story. I mean, I feel like we're going to be seeing this in so many ways in America, specifically, like as our future regime leader is building his cabinet. We're starting to see less and less brown faces, and I'm just like, I'm wondering how that feels to the brown faces that were supporting him. Maybe it feels a little bit like there are 400 birds above you, or I'm just, these kind of things will continue to happen. It's like, what kind of display will they think of next to embarrass you? These losers. What part of the documentary touched you the most, or moved you or affected you the most? Like, what part of the documentary are you taking away?
It's the microaggressions and straight up aggressions that we still see today. I think similarly to what you mentioned about what happened with Serena Williams, for example, and this is, back then, granted, I don't know that they necessarily had women speaking up or, speaking out in the same sort of way, but just thinking about those microaggressions and the aggressions that they experience, and what you just mentioned about Serena Williams and how she was characterized by voicing her opinion, and really, I think in part given strength from the people who competed before her in the sports world. And thinking about myself and some of the things that I deal with, especially, in my personal life and my professional life, and speaking up and being that maybe even token in a way, but a token that they wish didn't say anything, and a token that they want to be almost like what they used to say about kids back in the day, where children are to be seen and not heard. And that resonated with me, probably also because there are some very timely things right now that are happening professionally that make me feel like I'm just supposed to be seen and not heard and do what I'm supposed to do. And so being that, I guess, vocal as Serena Williams, or being really powerful as the Black women that we saw competing in the games, or with the intention to compete in the games, that is what walks away, or that's what I take away from the documentary. It's just, I am them and they are me. And that fight for Black women particularly still exists in many different ways.
Yeah.
Which makes me sad. So, yeah.
There was a second thing that touched me, just on a human level. But Tidy Pickett, who was another runner, the runner who broke her foot. She had two daughters who were a part of this documentary being interviewed, talking about their mom, talking about her experience. They were the one who relayed that Tidy had a great time in the village, I guess, the Olympic Village. Even though I'm sure that 100% of that kindness that was given to her was that propaganda to make Germany look nice on the global stage, right? But something that they mentioned that really touched me was that at the opening of a Holocaust museum, they were watching a video that was the Olympic procession, because this is also a really important Olympics for Jewish people because of all the anti-Semitism, the Nazi, everything. And for them to see their mom in the processional, possibly for the first time, I think it was, for them to be able to see that recording and see how she's forever in history. They already know the Black side, but to see how it goes into the Jewish history as well. Like, these Black athletes are not only just representing the Black struggle in America, but also the Jewish struggle in America, in the world at large. Like, it is more than the game. It's more than the race. It's just showing up and walking in the line next to your fellow athletes forever means something, because 1936 was a shift. And so thinking about where we are in America in 2024, as we approach 2025 and our new everything, I can't right now parse out the things that are going to be historic and what people are going to be, we're going to look back and be like, oh my goodness, they walked down that line or whatever. But like, that's happening right now. And so those women's reaction to understanding the weight of their mom's just being there, that really got me, because I think that we're going to be experiencing that in years to come. And I don't know, I feel like maybe we forget how everything matters, I guess, in history, and like the stamps that we actually do place in our own little microcosms. Even like, there's going to be a day, like, what if Gray's like, my mom talked about this all the time, like talked about these things, and like because of her, someone else learned, and you know what I mean? Like, there's going to be that. It can be on a huge scale or a small scale. Yeah, but like, impact is happening, and I'm going to doubt that Tidy Pickett was oblivious to that fact when she was there, but I'm sure that she didn't realize like there's going to be a Holocaust museum, and for years to come, there's going to be groups of people that are going to be seeing this and understanding that my role is important in the story at large as well. Like that was moving.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that stood out to me in the story, we've been talking mostly about the runners. The track and field folks, but also Joe Louis, famous Black boxer, another name that I feel like you grow up hearing about. I probably only heard about these names now that I'm thinking about it because I used to go to barbershops. I feel like that's how I knew about some of these people. But so Joe Louis competed as a boxer against a Nazi fighter, Max Schmeling, and lost. He was knocked out. And it kind of reminds me of the most recent Netflix live event with Mike Tyson against Aaron Paul.
Somebody.
Or is it Jake
Logan?
Paul? I don't know.
Jake?
I don't fucking know.
Or maybe they're both Paul. I don't remember it's their first name.
So when Mike Tyson fought Adolf Paul and lost, there are these undertones, especially because of where we are in America, who just became president-elect, what groups of people feel empowered and what different types of, reactions they're getting from that. It just seeing that the Nazi knocked out this undefeated, already history-making Black boxer in 1936, and seeing something similar happen most recently, it just filled me up with like a dark, sad, heavy feeling of. I know that one household is like, oh man, damn it, Joe, damn it, Mike, like, and I know the conversation, at least on the Black end, is, well, that he made $25 million, to lose, and it might have been staged and all that stuff.
Sure.
On the opposite side, there are houses that are like, see, because white men, da, 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 you know what I mean? Like that means something different. It means something different when a Nazi knocks out Joe Louis. It means something different to different people. And sports just have encompassed the race relations in America, let alone the country, in such a way, and are broadcast in so many different spaces that all these different messages, all these different reactions from these different households show up everywhere. So as much as I want to downplay the importance of sports, it is important. Like these things form ideas and they form how people are going to be treated. They form how every lesson from little kid boxing is going to go from now on. How many people are even willing to sign up for it? You know what I mean? Like that stuff matters. And it was just crazy to see 1936 version of something we just caught at the time of recording, like what, 2 weeks ago? 2-3 weeks ago? It was
a couple weeks. I certainly didn't watch it, but to prey on an old man and who had clearly retired and should not have been in the ring against someone half his age or however old the guy is, I don't know, but it's very predatory and it's very disappointing, but also not shocking that the white privilege of it all said, yes, I want to fight this person, made it happen, and embarrassed a legend on screen in his middle age. That's
also
wild.
I mean, I haven't kept up on my Mike Tyson news. I do know that he sells an edible that is an Evander Holyfield ear with a bite mark out of it. So that exists. I think it's sold in Las Vegas exclusively.
Well, since I just got here, maybe I need to find one.
Yeah, go look around for it, honestly.
Kicks and giggles.
But I don't know what he's dealing with financially, but the other part of my heart breaks that is if like he agreed to this fight for his $20 million, which is no small payday, if losing was in there. Like if he went in and be like, okay, I know, but I need this $20 million. And I can make $20 million in 20 minutes. Sure.
Which I think reminds me of our conversations about the wealth in the Black community and the knowledge of how to use that kind of wealth. So if that is the case, which I hope it's not, why didn't he have his riches continued on And why would he need to have to do that kind of thing? That's purely speculation. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something that you think about because it's like, it's Mike Tyson. That should have been a cakewalk. But also he's in his middle age. Like, why was he even there?
Late 50s or something. Like,
why are you there?
He should have been a ref, like not fighting someone. Yeah, right. Not even in the ring.
Oh my goodness. But also, in the name of Robin Givens, maybe he also shouldn't have been there. Like maybe he could have just been retired. And just, like I have so many mixed emotions about it. Yeah. It's a hard thing, but I'm sure that this was what people were thinking in 1936 too, to a certain level. They're like, why did you guys even bother? But maybe it's important for them to bother. I don't know. Jury's still out.
It is. Yeah. I mean, it is important for them to bother. Otherwise, possibly I wouldn't have played my sports growing up or still play my sports, or, we don't see any of the icons that we do see now. There's so many reasons as to why they did and why they should have. And I'm glad that they did, despite the turmoil that they went through. But they knew that it was something, they likely knew it was something greater than them. And to me, for people to subject themselves to that kind of experience, especially that sort of negative experience, is because they know that they're doing something greater than themselves.
You ate that.
Thank you. Hey, if you like what you hear, and let's be honest, we know you do, why don't you drop us a 5-star rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts? It'd really help us out. Thanks so much for listening.